قال العقل وفكاك الأسير وأن لا يقتل مسلم بكافر. He said one of them is to save, to help, to ransom al-asir. By now you know what is the asir word, huh? We don't have to repeat hostage and خلاص. Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنه, he said كل أسير عن ابن عمر, عن عمر رضي الله عنه. Ibn Abbas narrated that Umar رضي الله عنه said كل أسير كان في أيدي المشركين من المسلمين ففكاكهم في من بيت مال المسلمين. And every asir in the hands of the polytheists from the Muslims, his release has to be from Baytul Mal. Again, we don't have Baytul Mal. And Hamid ibn Abdul Rahman, he said that Umar رضي الله عنه, he said لئن أستنفذ رجلا من المسلمين من أيدي الكفار أحب إلي من جزيرة العرب. To save one Muslim, one, from the hands of the kuffar, more beloved to me than ruling all of the Arabian Peninsula. I just want to ask those Arab rulers, I just want to ask those Arab kings, what are you going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment? You tortured the Muslims. On the contrary, those Arab kings, they say to the enemies of Allah, give us those people and we torture them. If you have laws against torturing, we will torture them in our land because we are gods beside Allah. What are they going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How are you going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with such oppression towards the Muslims? With such oppression towards the slave of Allah? Wal-iyadhu billah. We all heard the story of the two British nurses who killed an Australian girl in Saudi Arabia. The whole country, England, was turned upside down. They said, we will not allow you, the Muslims, to implement the Sharia law on them. Two, nurses, killers. Now maybe they have the ideology, potentially dangerous. No, they're killers and proving killers and they agreed to it. This is the kuffar. What about us, the Muslims? Shalit, one of the soldiers of Israel. Israel turned the whole world upside down for one person. We are taken bil-hazamat, by bundles. And Allah knows. And Allah knows what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Islam. And the Muslim Ummah still sleeping. And the Muslim youth still worrying about McDonald's and what I'm going to do. And Ya akhi, you're a son of an Ummah. There is an Ummah behind you. You're a muwahhid. Allah sent you to this world not to sleep, not to eat and drink, not to enjoy like an animal. You're a Muslim. You have a risala, you have a message to take out to the world. Allah sent you as a messenger to the creation, as a witness over all the creation. And then the calamity of the Ummah in front of us, and the best out of us, sleeps during the day. Watch it, maybe a tear comes down with no reaction. With no reaction. The proper reaction. There is many ways we can help our brothers. But we are sleeping. We rather sleep. We rather say, my brother would do it. Let me give you this story. A man, the country, his town, he's a leader of a town, that's a story, was going through a starvation. The people were starving in it. And then he wants to help them. He thought right of a way. He said, I want each one of you tonight to come with a cup of milk and put it in the big pot that he put for them. He put a big pot, empty pot, in the middle of the town. He said, you come at night so no one can see you, and put a cup of milk inside that pot. Everyone, he woke up in the morning and he found the pot empty. And when he gathered the people, he said to them, I know what has happened to you. You're sitting in your house, you say, my friend Muhammad does it and my friend Khalid will do it. Khalas, I don't have to. Who's going to notice my cup? Who's going to notice my cup of milk in that big drum? Khalas, Ahmed do it. And Ahmed says Muhammad does it and Muhammad does Ahmed. So we end up with no result. Isn't it our case today? This is why we depend on each other. Until a group of sisters, they want to help the prisoners. Keep dreaming. And here, let me tell you a couple of stories, since we're talking about stories. Al-Hakam bin Hisham, the Emir of the Andalus. He heard about a woman, she was taken as a hostage. A woman, she was taken as a hostage. And he heard she said, Wa hakama, oh Hakam, help me and save me from the hands of the enemies of Allah. He belittled himself. And he felt the emotion running through his body. He gathered the army. And he took his army. This is in year 196, when men were men. He took the army and went to the land of the kuffar. He conquered it, attacked every fort, turned them upside down, until he was able to find the fort where this girl is, and he came back to Qurtuba. As the Mansur ibn Abi Amir, as the Mansur ibn Abi Amir in one of the battles in the north of Andalus. He was coming from the battle back home. One of you's come back 5 o'clock from work tired. He can't even talk to his wife. He wants to eat and sleep. A man, a king, comes from the battle with his army on the door of the northern of Qurtuba. A woman stands up for him. She says, Ya Amir, my son is in the hands of the Franks and in the hands of the Crusaders. It is obligatory on you to save him or pay his ransom and bring my son back to me. A woman speaks to Amir al-Mu'mineen. We have a person, a alim, who says to a king, Ittaqillah, he destroys his life. She stood up for Amir al-Mu'mineen and said to him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, my son is a hostage, do something. He refused to go into his house. He turned the army around and saved the man and came back. This is when the Ummah had Izzah. This is when the Ummah, when Amir al-Mu'mineen used to go visit the land of the kuffar and the church bells will stop. Why? Out of respect to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Compare and compare. The story is sad. I cannot continue. Subhanallah al-Azim. Al-Imam Ibn Hazm rahimahullah, he said in his book Maratib al-Ijma', he said it is consensus that the Muslims must release and save the hostages even if they have to pay money to their enemies. Why the logic here? Because if someone is declared war on you and fighting you and you're given money, he's going to take that money and use it against you. The ulama said, yes, let them take the money and use it against us, but we need to save the Muslims. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he sent one of his subjects. His name is Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Amr. He said, Ya Abdul Rahman, go and save the hostages of the Muslims. He went to negotiate with them. He said, it was in Constantinople. He sent him to Constantinople. He said to him, Ara'ayta ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? Did you see, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, that if they want me to swap a Roman for a Muslim, do I do that? He said, give them more. He said, what about 3 for 1? 2 for 1. He said, give him 3. He said, what about 3 for 1? He said, give him 4. Give him everything we have. Why? He said, you're not buying a Muslim, you're buying Islam. You're buying the dignity of Islam here. Because the enmity, not because of he is a human, the enmity because of the aqidah he carries. That is the problem. And that's what Umar bin Abdul Aziz understood. And here also the ulama have spoken openly about this issue. And like Ibn Qudama rahimahullah, he said, and he's a great Hanbali scholar in the Mughni, Faslun وَيَجِبُ فِدَاءُ أَسْرَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ إِذْ أَمْكَنَ. A chapter, it is obligatory to save the children of the Muslims if it is possible. And An-Nawawi said, rahimahullah, in his book Ar-Rawdah, I'm bringing an evidence from every madhab. So if you're a Shafi'i, you don't get upset. You're Maliki, you don't get upset. Hanbali, you don't get upset. Everyone, you find every scholar of your school of thought has said to you, it's obligatory. And here, Al-Imam An-Nawawi said, وَالْفِدَاءُ بِالْمَالِ وَاجِبٌ إِنْ اسْتَطَعْنَا تَخْلِيصُ الْأَسْرَى بِهِ. And he said, and to sacrifice our wealth to save the Asra is obligatory if we are able to. And also, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said, فِكَاكُ الْأَسْرَى مِنْ أَعْظَمِ الْوَاجِبَاتِ. To release the hostages and the prisoners is from the greatest of obligation. But listen to what he said. Listen to what he said. He said, وَبَذْلُ الْمَالِ الْمَوْقُوفِ